A nation robbed, the price of impunity. Yo, 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 Nigeria, it's your boy News Headlines coming at you live from, well, not so live, it's YouTube, but you get the point. We're here to talk about something serious, something that affects every single one of us: corruption. We all know it's a problem, but do we really grasp how deep it goes? Transparency and accountability, my people, those are not just big words politicians throw around. Because while some politicians are out there living their best lives, building mansions they can't even count, the average Nigerian is struggling to put food on the table, to afford basic health care, to get a decent education. James Ibori, the governor who had it all and then some. First up, we're heading down south to the oil-rich Delta State. Now Delta State, beautiful place, rich in resources, but the people? Not seeing that wealth, are they? Well, let's talk about James Ibori, governor from 1999 to 2007. This man, he knew how to play the game. He acted like he cared, promised development, but behind the scenes, he was allegedly siphoning off millions, allegedly. We're talking about a cool $250 million. That's enough to build schools, hospitals, roads, you name it. But instead, that money allegedly ended up in his pocket. And let me tell you, his pockets must have been deeper than the Atlantic Ocean. He even pleaded guilty in a UK court to money laundering. Think about that, pleading guilty in another country but walking free in Nigeria.
Sani Abacha, the general who looted a nation. Next up, we're going back in time, back to the days of military rule, to the regime of General Sani Abacha. This man ruled Nigeria with an iron fist from 1993 to 1998. And when I say iron fist, I mean it. Human rights? What human rights? Freedom of speech? Only if you wanted to get thrown in jail. But hey, at least the economy was booming, right? Well, not for the average Nigerian. You see, Abacha and his cronies, they were running a different kind of economy. A looting spree the likes of which Nigeria had never seen. We're talking billions, my friends. Billions with a B, $5 billion to be somewhat exact. Swiss bank accounts, offshore companies, you name it. Abacha's face was probably on the welcome mat.
Diezani Alison Madueke, the oil minister and the vanishing billions. Hold on to your hats, folks, because we're about to dive into the world of oil and high-stakes corruption. This is the story of Diezani Alison Madueke, Nigeria's Minister of Petroleum Resources from 2011 to 2015. Now, you'd think being in charge of oil in an oil-rich country would be a good thing for the people, right? Wrong. Under Alison Madueke's watch, billions of dollars went missing. Not misplaced, not accidentally spent on shoes, but vanished like a plate of jollof rice at a party. We're talking about $2.5 billion, folks. That's enough to build hospitals, schools, and create jobs that would make your head spin.
Chapter 4. Bukola Saraki, the Senate President under a cloud of allegations. Let's talk about Bukola Saraki, folks. This man went from governor to Senate President, climbing the political ladder faster than a monkey in a mango tree. But while he was busy climbing, something else was happening. Allegations of corruption. And not just your run-of-the-mill corruption, we're talking about alleged money laundering, asset declaration fraud, the whole shebang. Saraki was accused of using his position to enrich himself, allegedly diverting funds meant for the people of Kwara State during his time as governor. And we're not talking small change here. We're talking about $1.1 billion, folks. Despite facing trial, Saraki maintained his innocence, claiming it was all political persecution.
Chapter 5. Abdul Rashid Minor, the pension thief who stole from the elderly. Get ready to be angry, folks, because this next story will make your blood boil. This is the story of Abdul Rashid Minor, the man who allegedly stole from the most vulnerable pensioners. These were people who had worked their entire lives, contributing their hard-earned money to secure their future, only to have it stolen right from under their noses. Minor was the chairman of the Pension Reform Task Team, a position that gave him access to billions of dollars in pension funds. And what did he allegedly do? He treated it like his personal piggy bank. We're talking about $2 billion siphoned off, allegedly used to fund lavish lifestyles, buy properties, and even allegedly bribe government officials. Imagine that, stealing from the elderly, from those who depend on those pensions to survive.
Chapter 6. Orji Uzor Kalu, from governor to alleged embezzler. Buckle up, folks, because we're heading back to the southeast, to Abia State, where Orji Uzor Kalu, governor from 1999 to 2007, allegedly ran the state like his personal business. And business, it seemed, was booming. But for whom? Certainly not for the people of Abia State. Kalu was accused of embezzling state funds, allegedly diverting money meant for development into his own pockets and those of his cronies. We're talking about $3.2 billion, folks. That's enough to build roads, hospitals, schools, you name it. But instead, it allegedly went to fund Kalu's lavish lifestyle and political ambitions.
Get ready for a story of international intrigue, folks, because this one has it all. Arms deals, terrorism, and of course, good old-fashioned corruption. This is the story of Sambo Dasuki, the National Security Advisor to former President Goodluck Jonathan. Now, Dasuki's job was to oversee the procurement of arms and ammunition to fight Boko Haram. Sounds important, right? It was. But instead of using the funds to equip the military, Dasuki allegedly decided to play a different game, a game of kickbacks, diversions, and outright theft. We're talking about $2.1 billion meant for weapons that allegedly ended up in the pockets of Dasuki and his cronies. Imagine that, folks, stealing money meant to fight terrorism, putting the lives of soldiers and civilians at risk.
Hold on tight, folks, because we're heading to Imo State, where Rochas Okorocha, governor from 2011 to 2019, ruled with a flair for the dramatic. I mean, the man loved statues, he built them for everyone. Nelson Mandela, Jacob Zuma, you name it, Okorocha probably had a statue for them. But while he was busy erecting statues, something else was happening. Allegations of financial mismanagement. Okorocha was accused of treating Imo State's treasury like his personal bank account, allegedly diverting funds meant for development into his own pockets and those of his family members. We're talking about $1.5 billion, folks. That's enough to build schools, hospitals, and roads that would make your head spin. But instead, it allegedly went to fund Okorocha's lavish lifestyle and his statue obsession.
Get ready for a story of power, wealth, and allegations of money laundering, folks, because this one's got it all. This is the story of Patience Jonathan, the wife of former President Goodluck Jonathan. Now, Patience Jonathan, she was no ordinary first lady. She was outspoken, she was flamboyant, and some might say she had a knack for attracting controversy. And nothing was more controversial than the $15 million that allegedly turned up in her bank accounts. Now, where did this money come from? Good question. Patience Jonathan claimed it was hers, her hard-earned money, folks. But the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, they weren't buying it.
Let's rewind the clock back to the early 1990s, folks, to the time of the Gulf War. Now, remember that oil windfall Nigeria received during the war? Billions of dollars, folks, billions that were supposed to go towards development, towards improving the lives of everyday Nigerians. So, where did that money go? Well, that's the million-dollar question, or should I say the $12 billion question, because that's how much allegedly went missing under the watch of then military president Ibrahim Babangida. Babangida, also known as IBB, was a smooth operator, a master of political maneuvering. But when it came to the missing Gulf War windfall, things got a little murky. A 1994 investigation led by Pius Okigbo concluded that a staggering $12 billion was unaccounted for. That's right, folks, $12 billion vanished into thin air. Babangida denied any wrongdoing, claiming the money was used for strategic spending.
So there you have it, Nigeria. A glimpse into the world of political looting where billions of dollars meant for development, for schools, for hospitals, for roads, vanished into thin air. These stories, they are not meant to discourage you, but to ignite a fire within you. Because the truth is, the fight against corruption, it's not a spectator sport. It requires each and every one of us to stand up, to demand accountability, to demand transparency. We need to hold our leaders' feet to the fire to make sure they understand that they work for us, the people, not the other way around. Share this video, folks. Let's spark a conversation, let's raise awareness, and let's show these looters that their time is up. The future of Nigeria, it doesn't belong to them, it belongs to us.